Right, and now let's turn it over to Frank Messer for some color and the starting lineup for the second ball game. Frank?
All right, Jerry Coleman, thank you very much. Good afternoon once again, ladies and gentlemen. Our day here in Detroit has continued to be on the very nice side after that bit of rain we had during the opener. The breeze continues to blow out toward right field, and as you hear the chorus of boos in the background, they greet the umpires as they move onto the field along with manager Mayo Smith. Mayo was thrown out of the first game by umpire Bill Kinnaman, but of course he can return for the second game of the doubleheader. He is not thrown out for the afternoon. Ralph Houck joins the meeting at home plate, and they exchange lineup cards. Houck with a bit of a smile on his face, perhaps needling Mayo a little bit. And as we look down there, we also see Bill Kinnaman smiling a little bit. So the hard feelings that erupted momentarily over the the winning run scored by the Yankees in the first game evidently have passed. Yankees winning the opener by a score of 4-3, and the Yankees 10-hit attack included home runs by Bobby Cox, his second of the year, Joe Pepitone, his fourth of the year. Pepitone's homer tied the game at 3-3, and later Cox, not with a home run but with a ground ball to shortstop, drove in the winning run of the game for the Yankees. And now the starting lineups for this afternoon's second game as the Tigers take the field. The Yankees have Horace Clarke at second base. In left field, it's Roy White. Mickey Mantle will be at first base. Joe Pepitone in center field. Bobby Cox has moved up to the number 5 spot in the batting order. He'll be at third base. Bill Robinson replaces Andy Costco in right field. Costco slightly pulled a hamstring in yesterday's ball game. He was able to play the first game this afternoon, but rather than take a chance on further aggravation of that pull, Costco is out of the nightcap and Robinson plays right field. Ellie Rodriguez will do the catching. Gene Michael replaces Tommy Tresh at shortstop. And pitching for the Yankees, making his first start in the major leagues this year, Steve Barber, who had compiled a record of 1 win and 4 losses with the Yankee farm at Syracuse. Now for the Tigers, Dick McAuliffe will be at second base. In left field, batting second, it's Wayne Comer. Jim Northrup is in right field. Bill Freon is again at first base. He'll be batting cleanup. Mickey Stanley hitting fifth, plays center field. Jim Price does the catching. The number 7 hitter, third baseman Dick Trzaskowski. The shortstop, batting eighth, Ray Euler. And making his first start also for the Tigers this year is John Hiller, who has been in 8 games as a relief pitcher. Hiller has a record of 2 wins and 1 defeat. The umpires at the plate, Russ Getz at first base, Hank Starr, Johnny Stevens at second, Bill Kinnaman at third. And now, Horace Clarke steps in against the left-hander John Hiller, and stepping in to tell you all about it, here again is Jerry Coleman.
Okay, thank you very much, Frank. And the first pitch of the second ball game is underway. It swung on a foul back, and it looked as though it got rookie umpire behind the plate, Russ Getz, in one of his shin guards. He just threw the ball right out, didn't even bother to look at it, so out it goes. It's strike one as the second game gets underway. The Yankees dropped the first 2 and then won the first one today by a score of 4-3. And now Clarke takes outside 1-1. Clarke batting .218. Here's the next one. Horace, check swing foul behind the plate. It's going to be a long afternoon for Jim Price, who's been behind the plate in that first game and again in this one. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Clarke still, if you can believe it, looking for his first extra base hit. That's a long dry spell. Clarke swings at a curveball and misses, strike 3. Horace Clarke appears to me, Frank, at times to be missing big, and I'm wondering if he's getting a real good look at that ball.
Jerry, of course you've seen Clarke a lot more than I have, but in my recollections of Clarke as a batter, I have to think something is wrong. He's not getting a good cut at the ball. Just then he uppercut on the pitch and just didn't look good.
Well, here's Roy White from the right side, and he takes low, ball 1. Clarke, White, Mantle, and this is unusual, playing in this second ball game. switch hitters. Michael also a switch hitter. Tommy Tresh is not playing the second game at short, as you know. All right, the 1-0 pitch, and White takes it. It's 1-1. Roy White has had a lot of things bothering him. He's had a bad shoulder, a bad wrist, had an eye operation in January, forced him to wear dark glasses during day games in spring training, but that apparently is okay. White, a one-hopper back to the left-hander Hiller, who fires it over to first base, and we have two down. The play going 1-3. John Hiller, a Canadian, born in Scarborough, Ontario. He's 25 years old. He's a big guy. He's 6 feet tall, about 200 pounds. Now Mickey Mantle coming on, hitting at .250. Mantle, 6 home runs, 15 RBI. Swings and fouls the first pitch back. Strike one. Roy White came into this second game batting at .279. And I don't think White has had a base hit in this series as yet.
That's right, Jerry. He's been up 12 times, now 13 times without a hit.
All right, Mickey takes high. 1-1. White came into the series hitting .301 and opens up this ball game at .279. He's bounced out, so he has dropped a little bit lower. He's in one of those slumps that get you every now and then. All right, Mantle waiting. The 1-1 pitch on the ground sharply to the shortstop. He's got it. The long throw in time. 3 up and 3 down. The Yankees are out of there in the top of the first, and the score after a half inning of play. Yankees nothing. Tigers coming to bat.
Atlantic keeps your call on the go.
There's fun and excitement along the way as well as when you get there. When you fill up with Atlantic Imperial gasoline and follow the Imperial Road. Forget about how your car will run. Atlantic Imperial gasoline helps keep it running the way it was made to run, wherever you go. Your drive will come alive when you take the Imperial Road. Pack more fun in your trip and get on the Imperial Road with Atlantic Imperial gasoline.
Atlantic keeps your car on the go.
I think figured crew was going to be out there today, Jerry. They got out there at 10 o'clock this morning. I think they were going to hang around till about 5 this afternoon. I would imagine if you got there about 5 minutes past 5, you might still be able to get tickets for the Minnesota series.
Okay, Frank, we're all set to go now, and moving into the bottom half of the first inning in this second ball game, it'll be Dick McAuliffe coming on. And McAuliffe, who's always a tough guy, he drove in one of the big runs in that second ball game, or the first ball game. Dick McAuliffe facing Steve Barber, and this has got to be a big game for Steve. A chance for him to move back into a starting rotation on this ball club, and certainly a chance to move back on the club. When he went to Syracuse, it was by his own choice that he went down there to try to pitch up from some of the problems he's had. There's a fastball in there, strike one to McAuliffe. As you know, Fernandez, Whitaker, and Downing all in the service, and all will be available in just about 2 weeks. So that's going to make some decisions necessary as far as the Yankee club is concerned. Here's the 1-strike pitch, and McAuliffe takes this one. It's 1 ball and 1 strike. 1-1 the count. At first base, coaching is Wally Moses. At third, Tony Cuccinello. Barber taking his time now. The left-hander ready. Into the windup. The pitch to McAuliffe is just outside. 2 balls and a strike. Dick McAuliffe. He's got the wind with him. The wind is blowing rather briskly from the left field foul pole toward the right field foul pole, favoring the left-hand batters. Russ Getz, the rookie umpire, calling for time right now, and now we're ready to go again as Barber starts into his windup and then wants to have a conference with his catcher.
Sort of a tough club for Steve to come back against, Jerry. He's always had a little trouble with the Tigers. He's got a lifetime record of 6-10 against Detroit, and Just about a year ago, April 30th of last year, he pitched no-hitter against Detroit, still lost the ball game. Didn't give up a base hit in 8 2/3 innings. Stu Miller came in, got the last out, but the Tigers scored 2 without a hit.
Okay, Barber delivers to McAuliffe, fouls it off to the right here. It's 2-2. I think manager Ralph Houck will be looking more at how Steve pitches, if this is possible, than the results of the game. In other words, if he's dispatching the hitters properly, making his pitches in the proper areas, I think this will impress Ralph Houck more than the actual outcome of the game. In other words, an error or a bloop hit or something can score runs. All right, Barber is ready now. He's checking Rodriguez, the young catcher. McAuliffe waiting. Here's the next one, and it's sort of a looping fly ball. Backing up is Michael. He's got it. Little looper that almost dropped into left center field, and we had almost a whirlpool out here, a windstorm. It was going in a whirlwind, I should say, not a whirlpool, that's water, a whirlwind of dust that flew up here while McAuliffe was up there. Here's Wayne Comer coming on. Right-hand hitter. He's 0 for 2. He was put on the club when Kaline was hurt. Hits the first pitch to right field. Robinson, a long run, makes the play. 2 up and 2 down, and that'll bring up Jim Northrup. Let's see, Barber will have the advantage of pitching to only 2 left-hand hitters in the lineup, McAuliffe and Northrup. All the others, with the exception of the pitcher, of course, are right-handers. And Hiller also bats right. Oh, how do you like that? Throws left, bats right. All right, here's Northrup now. Fouls this one off just to the right. Strike 1. Jim Northrup was out early this morning at 10 o'clock. This is before a doubleheader, taking batting practice under the tutelage of the Detroit batting coach, Wally Moses, at first base. He's had a long day. He's been out here at 4:23 now. 6 hours and 23 minutes. He's got a couple more to go. That's a full day's work, Frank.
Sure is. But Jim is, he hit the ball well the first game of this series, and he's had 2 hits, I think, in 11 trips.
All right, it's 1-1 now as Barber's into the windup. The next one almost hit him. Down he goes. Steve missed the plate big with that one. 2 balls and 1 strike. That ball right behind Northrup's ear. And if you remember, it was Jack Aker who beat Northrup that started that melee in Oakland about a week or so ago. Northrup came out of that with a cracked rib, and he never missed a ball game. It's high on the left side. Very unusual thing. All right, here's the 2-1 delivery now. Hit hard, center field. He really pickled that one. Well, I would say that almost getting beamed didn't faze that young man one bit. That ball was a bullet into center field. So Barber gives up his first base hit to Jim Northrup, and now here is Bill Freehan coming on. Steve Barber getting his first starting assignment of the 68 season. Been at Syracuse. Frank told you had a record of 1-4 while he was down there. All right, Bill Freehan, the big catcher, steps in. Swings at a fastball and misses, strike 1. Freehan batted in the number 5 spot behind Willie Horton in the first game, but Horton is not playing the second game, so Freehan has moved up to the cleanup spot. Bill Freehan, all-star catcher, playing first base in both games today, waiting as Barber delivers. Fastball is outside. Rodriguez bobbled it, but then was on it in a hurry. Holding it first is Northrup. 1 ball, 1 strike. Chicago still holding on to that 2-0 lead over the Minnesota Twins. They're playing the 8th inning. Well, they've had some battles up there. The Twins, who were expected to be a big hitting club, have not been getting the hits. There's a fastball outside. 2 balls and 1 strike to Bill Freehan. And Minnesota will be in tomorrow night, Tuesday night, Wednesday night, Thursday afternoon. Cards beat the Mets in the first one 6-3. The winner Gibson, the loser Jackson. That's the final score in that first game of the doubleheader at Shea Stadium. There's a high fly ball. Horace Clarke backing up. Now Bill Robinson. The wind's got it. Robbie having trouble backing up and just makes the play. The wind and the sun gave Robinson some trouble, but he managed to grab it. No runs, a base hit, and one left, and the score after one inning of play. Yanks nothing, Detroit nothing.
Sitting next to me here in the press box is Miss Fly-By-Night herself, the White Owl girl.
Hi, Joe.
Hey, it's a pleasure having a nice, fluffy thing like you here at the game.
I love to watch White Owl men in action, and the ballpark's full of them today.
What's so special about a White Owl man? As if I didn't know.
A man looks good with a white owl, and when a man looks good, he acts and feels like a 20-game pitcher.
How about a 20-game catcher? I'm smoking the White Owl miniature, a true cigar in a miniature size.
And don't forget the demi-tip. It's smaller than the big one, bigger than the small one, and it's got a soft, pliable holder. Both have the same mild White Owl taste. They really do something for a man.
Like you're a batting slump?
It's possible. You know, you get a lot more from a white owl than just smoke.
Well, as we go now to the second inning, no score in this ball game. Yankees won the opener 4-3, and here's a fellow that had a big hand in winning that opening game, Joe Pepitone, who came up with 2 base hits, including his 4th home run of the year. Jerry?
Okay, Frank, and he's going up against John Hiller, and the biography on Hiller is a strange one. He said it reads he was discovered on a Toronto sandlot and signed without a bonus, and that's something you don't hear of much these days. Joe Pepitone up there takes a fastball outside. Most of the ball players today get some kind of a bonus. Not all of them, of course, but many of them, those in big demand, of course, get the big ones. Pepe takes a curve on the corner, 1-1. Joe started to go and held up. 1 ball, 1 strike. Hiller to Pepitone, a curve, misses outside. 2 balls and a strike. John Hiller was warming up yesterday. Therefore, he may have thrown a few extra pitches more than he would have liked to. He was ready to come in that game yesterday. There's a 2-hopper to first base. The big guy, Freehan, makes the play unassisted, 1 away. So, young Mr. Hiller has retired the first 4, and now Bobby Cox, who's been down in the Yankee batting order, is moving in to bat in the number 5 spot. Cox in that first ball game drove in a couple of runs, one with a home run. Home run in the 7th inning brought the Yankees back in the game, 3-2 at the time. Bobby fouls this one back. 1 strike the count. Let's see, Cox right now batting .231. His average did not move. He came into the first game at .231. Kind of breezy up here today. Cox waiting. There's a curve outside by Hiller. Have some young pitching. John Hiller, 25 years old. The left-hander ready, kicks. There's a high fastball. It's 1 ball. Check that. 2 balls and 1 strike. Indians defeated the Senators 10-5 in the first game of the doubleheader. Detroit lost games to Baltimore and to the Indians. There's a curve low and inside. I mean lost games in the standings. They started out 3.5 over Baltimore, 4 over the Indians, and now it's 2.5 and 3 as of this moment. Change up, hit on the end of the bat, just off to the right, foul. 3-2 the count to Bobby Cox. Whitey Ford coaching at first base for the Yankees. Frank Crosetti at third. Cox up on the plate. He really hovers over that plate, right on top of it, straightaway stance. Waiting. The pitch by pitcher, delivered, drilled hard to the third baseman for the putout. That ball well hit, and right now it's New York Yankee baseball at fourth for station identification.
Hi, this is Jerry Ducey. Join me for my telephone talk show, weeknights here at 8:10 on your dial, WGY Schenectady.
Bill Robinson moving in there, takes a curve high for ball one. Robbie has not been used in a starting assignment of late, but getting a chance in this ball game against the left-handed Hiller. Here's a pitch swung on a foul back right on the screen. 1-1. Robinson taking a good cut at that one. It was a fastball on the letters. He tried to jam him. John Hiller wasting no time, getting the sign from Price. Ready, here it comes. The changeup outside. 2-1 the count. These Detroit pitchers, by and large, work rapidly. They don't waste much time. Hiller's another one of them. Here's a 2-1 delivery. Fastball swung on a miss. 2-2. That one on the knees inside. So John Hiller is changing speeds on Robinson. Let's see if he comes back with an off-speed pitch. Here it comes. It's another fastball popped up behind the plate, out of play. It was interesting to watch Russ Getz on that pop-up. The minute the ball went up in the air, he started backing off rapidly to the left. In other words, to get out of the way of the catcher. One of the things that the plate umpire has to do, and he's got to move quick at times. All right, the 2-2 pitch to Bill is low and inside. A curve that missed. It's 3-2 now. 3 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs, nobody on. Top of the second inning, no score. The Yankees got the first one, 4-3. The payoff pitch swung on a miss. He went after a curveball way out in front. That is strike 3 and the third out for the Yankees here in the second inning. Nothing across, and the score after an inning and a half. Yanks nothing, Detroit nothing.
Vacations needn't be a once-a-year treat. Atlantic's free weekender tour guides help you make any weekend an exciting one, or 2-day vacation for the whole family. They plan the whole trip for you, tell you where to go, what to see, and how to get there. And even places you may have visited before take on new interest and excitement because the tour guides tell you what to look for, point out historical facts, and give you other fascinating information. Each weekender tour guide has several short trips in one particular area, carefully planned to include many different points of interest and still get you back home in plenty of time for your favorite evening TV program. Just ask any Atlantic dealer for your copy. Then let him fill your tank with Atlantic Imperial, the clean carburetor gasoline. Then you'll be on the Imperial road to family fun with a gasoline that cleans the throttle plate area of your carburetor as you drive. Atlantic Imperial. Well, as Jerry told you a few minutes ago, those runs are hard to come by at Chicago these days. The White Sox leading the Minnesota Twins 2-0. They're in the 8th inning. That must have been a strange game there last night, Jerry, or yesterday afternoon, I guess it was, with Dean Chance having a no-hitter going with 1 out in the 9th inning, and then from the accounts I read, 3 sort of bleeders. Soley had ground ball to third, a chopper off the plate, and little Texas Leaguer over second base for 3 base hits quickly, and he lost it 1-0. That's got to be heartbreaking.
Frank, it can happen that way, and will happen that way. Sometimes those little, well, it's not where, but how far and the distance and so forth on those base hits. The location sometimes can mean an awful lot, and of course, Dean Chance looked like he was going to move right along and maybe come up with a good one, and suddenly lost it 1-0. And it was a tough one, as you said. Here's Mickey Stanley batting in the number 5 spot, and he takes low and inside from Barber for ball 1. Twins and the White Sox have battled. Real hammer and tongs up there the last 4 days, or 4 games, rather. They're playing a doubleheader today. There's a fastball that's in there to Stanley, 1-1. Mickey Stanley, right-hand hitter. And suddenly the wind has come up, very brisk, blowing all over the place. Papers flying in different directions. Sun is out, bright and clear, but the wind is blowing. All right, Barber, the 1-1 pitch, fouled off right side upper deck. 1 ball and 2 strikes. The flag on the center field pole, which is above the roof here, is straight out and blowing hard from the left field foul pole to the right field pole. Strong wind. And nearly a packed house here at Tiger Stadium, I'd say. In excess of 40,000 here today. Barber to Stanley. Check swing called ball. 2-2. Russ Getz took a look first at Hank Storr at first base and then Bill Kinnaman at third. Looking for some kind of an indication. On those half swings, they're tough for the catchers. And also for the umpires behind the plate. A lot of foul tips come off of a half swing. The guy starts, stops, but his bat just doesn't get back in time. Here's a 2-2 pitch. One hopper. Barber has this one over his shoulder, turns around and fires to Mickey for the putout. So Stanley is out of there. Play going 1-3. Now Jim Price, the catcher, moving in. Price will be followed by Dick Trzaskowski. 1 out, bottom of the second, no score. Dennis McLean, who was shooting for his 9th win today, did not get it, but he did not get the loss either. Barber to Price outside, ball 1. You know, the newspapers are on strike here. Today is the 200th day they've been on strike, and it's hard to tell whether or not, does anyone have 9 victories in the American League or National League?
No, Jerry, not to my knowledge.
A pop-up right side. Rodriguez with a chance at it near the Yankee dugout, and it drops just inside the dugout, but Rodriguez could not get to it.
Marshall has 8 wins. McLean has 8. And Jerry Koosman of the Mets has 8 wins. Those are the 3 winningest pitchers.
Well, this is like being locked in a vault here in Detroit to get newspaper information. Most of the information that comes in, they have one of those papers that you New Yorkers are familiar with, sort of a transient type that they put out, very brief. And most of the news that we read today was in the New York papers on Friday. A little bit late. Here's the 1-1 pitch now to Price, hit high in the air. Down the right side, Mantle digging for the ball, drifting foul. Nobody can get to it. Had that been fair, it would have dropped for a base hit. Count is 1 ball, 2 strikes. Dennis McLean, who started that first game, said that this was the best start he'd ever had. And the only ball game he lost here. And it was after he had rapped the fans for being unpatriotic and the worst in baseball. But they didn't get on him much today, surprisingly so. All right, Price is back now. Barber's ready. Here's the 1-2 pitch now to Jimmy Price, and it's outside, 2-2.
You know, Jerry, the fans here in Detroit really don't know that McLean did rap them because they don't have the newspapers, unless they pick it up in the sporting news.
He said a lot of people listen to the radio and television, though. And he said they got their news through that area. And apparently, I guess, through this little paper that they have, which is not too comprehensive, but enough to give you some of the news. Here's the 2-2 pitch now, and Price hits a ground ball. Cox, moving to his left, has it up with it, flips the Mantle. Nice play by Bobby Cox. Two up and 2 down. Here's Dick Trzaskowski. Look at the last 4 batters for Detroit. Price at 130, Trzaskowski 150, Euler 160, and Hiller hasn't got a hit. This puts a little strain on some of the others. All right, Trzaskowski, a utility ball player, waiting and takes strike 1. Dick Trzaskowski, a very valuable asset to a ball club. He can play second, third, or short in professional manner and doesn't make any mistakes. These are the kind of people that are so vital to ball clubs. High pop, infield. Michael backing up. Now the ball is being blown toward Clark, but Michael waves him off and makes the play. 3 up and 3 down on the score after 2 full innings of play. Yankees nothing, Tigers nothing.
Hey, baby, got a sunburn? Get Unburn, the new sunburn remedy that relieves pain in seconds.
Sunburn today, unburn tonight. Sunburn today, unburn tonight. Out in the sun too long. Unburn out in the sun. Got that dried out feeling. Out in the sun too long. Get Unburn, what'll you do when your skin starts peeling?
Get remarkable new Unburn. It cools, comforts, and soothes. Relieves your sunburn pain in seconds and conditions your sun-damaged skin for hours. Don't take a chance on suffering. Be prepared. Get new Unburn today.
Feeling so bad, hurting all over. What'll you do tonight? Sunburn today, tonight you'll feel better with Unburn. Sunburn today, new Unburn tonight.
Well, the Minnesota Twins scored a run in the top half of the 8th inning. Chicago is leading 2-1 now in that ball game. And at the end of this 3rd inning, we'll give you a complete rundown on all the action as we have it up to that moment. Right now, though, let's watch young Ellie Rodriguez as he leads off the top half of the 3rd inning for the Yankees. And, Jerry, he was a happy kid the other night when he got his first major league hit.
And he stands right now 1 for 7, batting a 143. Deep in the box, holds the bat on the end, the product of the Bronx Sandlots. Takes low, ball 1. Rodriguez brought in to take up the slack left by Frank Fernandez, who is currently doing Army duty for 2 weeks. And Ellie takes a strike in there, a curveball, 1-1. You can't see it from this side, but apparently Hiller must have a pretty good breaking ball because not too many guys going after it, which means they're being fooled. Here's the next one. There's a curve. It's just inside. 2-1. John Hiller thought he had that one. Hiller split the season of 65, 66, and 67 with Detroit. He's been up and down a lot. There's a high fastball that misses, 3-1. On deck, Gene Michael. Rodriguez, the 3-1 delivery. Curve inside, ball 4, and that's the first Yankee base runner. Yankees looking for their first hit in this game. As Gene Michael steps up, we're in the top of the 3rd, no score. Michael taking a long look at Frank Persetti. Gene Michael hitting 159. Gene takes high, ball 1. You know, you look at the lineup of both Detroit and New York, and the last 4 hitters on both clubs, none of the men are over 200. Robinson, 184, Rodriguez, 143, and Michael at 159, and Barber has not been up at all. All right, Michael steps out of the batter's box. Up there, chokes up a little, straightaway stance. The 1-ball delivery, long on, foul back on the screen. Great play by the ball man. He got it before it hit the ground. People sort of sitting here. This is a quiet crowd right now. Nothing has happened as yet. No score in the game, 3rd inning. Hiller sets. There goes the runner. The ball hit the left field. It may drop, and it does. And on his way to 3rd base is Rodriguez on the throw. Michael may be hung up, and Euler dropped the ball, throws to first, not in time. Ray Euler, or Dick McAuliffe, rather, covering 2nd base, had Michael hung up and dropped the ball and had to reach back for it, and that's all Michael needed to get to first. Frank, I'd have to say the Yankees got a break on that one.
That's right, Jerry. There's a play where Well, an error is not involved. It just goes as a routine single, but there's a play where, as you said, Michael would have been out had McAuliffe not dropped the ball. He'd have had a clear shot at him, but under the scoring rules, they do not consider an error to be involved. Now, had Michael gone to second base through McAuliffe dropping the ball, there would have been an error involved.
Okay, and Trzaskowski and Hiller are having a little conference. Nobody out here, and Steve Barber is stepping up there. No score in the ball game. Top of the third, with the Yankees having runners at first and third. Michael at first base. Rodriguez at third. John Hiller sets. The pitch is a curveball in there, strike one.
Steve is strong. He usually will take a big cut with the bat when he's up there to swing away, and they pitch where he's swinging. He can give that ball a pretty good ride.
Okay, he's waiting right now. The next one by Hiller is high. 1 ball, 1 strike.
I think for the first couple of weeks of the Syracuse season, he was leading the club in homers with 1. And then hit another one.
All right, Steve waiting as Hiller sets. The pitch to Steve is way outside. 2 balls and 1 strike. The Detroit defense, Freehan is holding against Michael at first base, and the third baseman, Trzaskowski, is playing tight. But the shortstop, Euler, and the second baseman, McAuliffe, are back at double play depth. Hiller to Barber. Fastball zipped right in there. 2-2. That ball had something on it. On deck, Horace Clarke. Yankees with a chance to break the logjam here in the second ball game. It's a scoreless game in the third. Hiller to Barber. Wild pitch. And coming on is Rodriguez. Covering at the plate is Hiller, and they got him. A nice play by the pitcher and the catcher. Tell you what happened. That was a ball that sailed completely over the head of Jim Price and kicked off the backstop here and rolled about 20 feet back toward Price, who broke for it. He came up, fired to Hiller. Hiller and Rodriguez both sliding into the plate at the same time. And Hiller put the tag on Rodriguez for the putout.
Jerry, that ball hit a solid part of the backstop. The backstop is padded down below the wire, but it hit a solid part there and bounced right back to Price, which gave him a good shot. And Hiller wasting no time to get in to cover the plate. I was watching Price go after the ball. All of a sudden saw Barber telling Rodriguez to slide and looked up, and Ellie was still a pretty good ways from the plate. And they had him.
Well, it was a wild pitch, an unusual wild pitch. Michael moved to second base, but in a sense, Detroit getting out of a tougher spot than they were in on the wild pitch as Rodriguez was nailed at the plate. All right, Barber now with 3-2 on him. Hiller set. The pitch to Steve is a fastball that's high, and it's ball 4. So that looms even larger as the Yankees now with runners at first and second, 1 out, will bring up Horace Clarke.
Wild pitch advancing Michael to second. Put out with 2-1.
Well, if you heard that in the background, that was just the official scorer's version of a wild pitch advancing Michael to second and the putout going 2-1 from the catcher to the pitcher. In any event, we have 1 down. Michael at second, Barber at first, and here's Horace Clarke, who struck out in the first. Clarke from the right side, a switch hitter, stands pretty good piece away from the plate and takes strike 1. Curveball. Roy White on deck. No score in this game. We're in the third inning. Yankees got the first one 4-3, a real tight one. All right, John Hiller sets. Here's a pitch. Horace pops it up, right side, foul territory. Digging for it is Freehan near the railing and can't quite get to it. And Freehan went into that railing with a little force. That's concrete down there. And he banged into that. The ball was about 3 rows back, but Freehan kept going after it and just charged right into it. Might be that Bill Freehan is used to running into the railing with his shin pads on, but playing first base without him, it's a different story. He could have banged himself up pretty good. Big man, though, ex-football player, just bounced off that concrete, put a dent in it, and walked away. All right, we're waiting now. Here's Hiller to Clark. On the ground to the shortstop. Euler flips to McAuliffe. Back to first. Not in time. Well, the way things have been going, the fans here do not like the umpiring by any of the four umpires, Frank. They've been on them all day.
Well, Jerry, in the series, there have been a few questionable calls. Both ways.
Barber, forced at second base, is leaving the field. Clark is safe at first. Michael has moved to third. Now here's Roy White, who tapped back to the pitcher in the first inning. And as we've told you, White still looking for that first base hit in this series. Boy, sometimes that mountain can get steeper and steeper.
3,912.
The pitch to White. He bunts it. Foul. Coming back. He was trying for the base hit to drive in the run. And sometimes that'll happen to you when things are tough. That's some attendance we just got, Frank.
Certainly is, Jerry. 43,912. And I believe that may be the biggest crowd the Yankees have played before this year.
Could be the biggest crowd of the year. I don't know that there are any bigger. The only other parks that can get bigger would be Cleveland and Yankee Stadium. Big crowd today. There's a dribbler toward third. Krasuski is up with it. One-handed. Fires to first in time. And White is out of there. Nice play by Dick Krasuski. For the Yankees, no runs, one base hit, 2 men left in a wild inning. And the score after 2.5, Yankees nothing and Detroit nothing.
Why travel just any road when you can travel the Imperial Road to summertime fun? Atlantic Imperial is the clean carburetor gasoline that smooths your way to driving enjoyment. It cleans your carburetor as you drive and keeps it clean. And a clean carburetor can make a world of difference in your car's performance. When dirt deposits around the carburetor throttle plate cause stalling, rough idling, and poor acceleration, a few tankfuls of Atlantic Imperial will dissolve those troublesome deposits and wash them harmlessly away. Then, as you continue to use Atlantic Imperial, it will help prevent their return. Whether you're driving across town or across the country, every trip becomes a pleasure trip when you travel the Imperial Road with Atlantic Imperial, the clean carburetor gasoline.
We're talking about the paid attendance here this afternoon, 43,912, and that is the largest crowd the Yankees have played in front of this year, Jerry, and it's got to be one of the biggest crowds of the year in the American League. Now, Oakland, I think, on their opening day, had a big crowd. We're going to check the figures on that, but certainly one of the best crowds of the year in the league this afternoon here at Detroit.
Yes, sir. A big one. All right, here's Ray Euler coming on. Almost 44,000 people. 88 shy of 44,000. Ray Euler takes one outside. Ball one from Steve Barber. All right, Steve ready again. He delivers. Euler swings at it. Hits it on the ground to Michael at short, who gobbles it up. Underhand flip is to Mantle. It's in time. One away.
Jerry, if all things go the way I think they will, we'll have the biggest crowd of the year in baseball at Yankee Stadium next Sunday.
That day, certainly one of the bigger days anywhere in baseball, and I think over the years has drawn more people each year than any other park in baseball, even in Cleveland's Municipal Stadium that really has a larger area. All right, here's the pitcher. John Hiller swings and misses at a fastball. Strike one.
Jerry, if Hiller swings that bat again, watch him. I think he's been taking lessons from McAuliffe. He gets the left foot way up there. Of course, he bats from the other side.
Well, we're ready again, and he takes it outside. He looks like he's leveled. 1-1.
That opening day crowd at Oakland, the largest crowd in the American League this year, 50,164. Jerry, I think this may be the second largest.
Here's the 1-1 pitch to Hiller, and it's in there. 1 ball and 2 strikes. have a big weekend next week at the stadium. Swing and a miss, and Hiller is out of there, and that's the first strikeout for Barber. So Barber has given up only one hit, pitching to the first 9 batters. We have 2 down in the bottom of the third. Here's McAuliffe, hit a looping liner to Michael in the first inning. Wind blowing, and as we've told you before, it favors those left-hand hitters, and McAuliffe is one of them. All right, Barber sets, delivers. There's a long drive, center field. Pepitone on his horse, but now the wind is working against the ball, and Pepitone has it. 3 up and 3 down, and the score after 3 full innings of play. Yanks nothing, Detroit nothing. Now, while we're waiting a moment here, let's give you a rundown on the scoreboard by Frank Hiller as we wait for the board to be passed across, and it's like passing the bread across the table. We finally got it to him.
That's right, Jerry. I'm glad that you lived in a boarding house at one time with those long arms, and you got it down here to me. All right, in a game called after 5 innings, Baltimore beat Boston 4-3, and I think the Orioles were happy to settle for that one win. They lost the first 2 games of the series to the Red Sox. Phoebus got the win and Stang the loser. Second game of the doubleheader in Boston, of course, rained out. And Cleveland jumped on Washington 10-5 with a 15-hit attack in the first game. Ron Hansen had a home run in that ball game for Washington, and Chico Simon hit one for Cleveland. Steve Hargan got the win, and Frank Fratena was the starter and loser for Washington. In the second game, Cleveland leads 2-0 on a first-inning home run by Lee May. That guy's got the bat woke up here all of a sudden. Cleveland 2, Washington nothing, end of 1. Jim Hannon pitching for Washington and Sonny Siebert for Cleveland in the second game. Minnesota and Chicago in the bottom half of the 8th inning of their opener. Chicago leads 2-1. Baranowski now pitching for the Twins and Hoyt Wilhelm for the White Sox. California failed to score in the first inning at Oakland. Pittsburgh over Atlanta 8-4 in the first game. Houston leading Chicago 2-1 at the end of 6.5. And Mickey Mantle steps in, Jerry.
Okay, we'll throw those other scores while we go along. It's ball 1 to Mickey. John Hiller delivers, and Mantle takes ball 2.
Marshall going for his 9th win for San Francisco. 0-0 at the end of 3 at Los Angeles. Sutton opposing Marshall in that one. And the Cardinals beat the Mets 6-3 in their first game. Failed to score in the first inning of the nightcap.
Mickey takes a strike. 2 balls and 1 strike. Keep going, Frank.
All right, Cincinnati over Philadelphia 5-3 in a single game. Maloney went all the way for the win. Wise was the loser. Atlanta nothing, Pittsburgh nothing in the first inning of their nightcap.
All right, Mantle takes strike 2, 2-2. And I understand, according to our engineer, Sandy Alper, that I said Frank Hiller instead of Frank Messer when I passed you the scores. You know, I used to play with a guy by the name of Frank Hiller. He was quite a pitcher for the Yankees. And for the Cubs, Mantle fouls one off. 2 balls and 2 strikes. And then with Hiller out there, and your first name being Frank, it slipped out. But I do know your last name is Frank Messer.
It was Hiller before I changed it.
Okay. I'm glad we got that straight. There's a ground ball to the third baseman, Trzaskowski. He's up with it, fires over to Freehan, and Mickey is out of there. 1 up, 1 down. Here's Joe Pepitone, who bounced to first unassisted. Both teams with only 1 base hit. Michael has the hit for the Yankees. Northrup for Detroit. Pepe waiting, and he takes outside. Ball 1. Joe Pepitone starting to squeak with a bigger bat of late. Single and a home run in that first game. Fouls this one back. 1 ball, 1 strike. Pepe so far 4 for 13 on the series. Just about 300. 1-1 pitch by Hiller on the way to Pepitone. Changeup hit slowly towards second. McAuliffe's got to go. He's up with it. Underhand flip, not in time. And that's the one time that McAuliffe got caught short. He was back on the grass, and it was that much difference that made the difference in the play.
batter, of course, will never by design unless he's bunting, hit a ball that slowly. But as Jerry told you, and we told you during the first game and through this series, McAuliffe has played these left-hand hitters way back in the grass, sort of as a short right fielder. And he just couldn't get into that one.
All right, Pepitone, a leadoff scratch single on a first. Here's Bobby Cox, hits one to left field, way back there. Comer near the line, is under it, makes the play, and Pepitone, who is halfway down, trots back to first. Cox didn't get real good wood on that ball, but he pulled it in a spot. It was right down the line, and Comer had to make a long run to haul it in. All right, Bill Robinson stepping in there, and right now, we remind you, it's New York Yankee baseball. We pause for station identification.
Hi, this is Jerry Ducey. Join me for my telephone talk show, weeknights here at 8:10 on your dial, WGY Schenectady.
Ball one has been thrown to Bill Robinson. 2 out, Pepitone at first base. Hiller to Robinson. He swings at a changeup and misses way out in front. 1 ball, 1 strike. The 1-1 pitch to Robbie. Fouled at the plate. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Bill Robinson taking some good cuts in this ball game. Trying to make contact. Get that one that'll power that ball out there. John Hiller comes set. The left-hander delivers, and Robbie got caught short, fouled it off right side. The ball was in on him and hit into the upper deck. A pretty good scramble. There is a rather heavy set lady just sitting there. The ball popped around a couple of kids and landed in her lap, and she's got herself a souvenir. Here's the 1-2 pitch to Robbie. Pops this one up right side. Green in foul territory is under it for the putout. No runs, a base hit, 1 left, and the score after 3.5. Yankees nothing and Detroit nothing.
Will the White Owl girl please report to the press box?
How'd you know I was here?
Easy. You're always where the men are. There are lots of men out here today, right?
Right. You got me in the middle of my adding.
Addie?
Just for fun, I was counting the men smoking White Owl cigars.
And how'd you come out?
I lost count. There are so many. I spot some Rangers, a bunch of New Yorkers, hundreds of Invincibles.
You need a White Owl scoreboard.
Even without one, I can tell it's a White Owl crowd. Because men love that White Owl tobacco. It's slow-aged, mellowed to build up the mild taste. And no matter which White Owl shape a man picks, he's sure of a smooth smoke right down to the last pitch.
That's a pretty good pitch you're making yourself.
It's true. Every time I see a man light up a White Owl, I know he's going to enjoy himself. I know he's going to discover why they say you get a lot more from a White Owl than just smoke.
Well, they've completed 8 innings at Comiskey Park in their first game. Chicago leading Minnesota by a score of 3-1 now. And Chicago won yesterday's game 1-0. They got the first game of the series 2-1, and those White Sox pecking away in those short-scoring ball games, Jerry. They're going to make their move.
They've got the pitching, Frank. No question about that. But right now it's Wayne Comer and Steve Barber in the battle. The first pitch by Barber hit high in the air to the right side. The wind will play a role in this one as Mantle's going the wrong way, and now it's being blown back to Bill Robinson. It looked as though Mantle and Clark would be the men to go after it, and that ball just kept carrying out there, and Robinson made the putout.
Looking down there, Mickey, who's got a rather sheepish look on his face. He was well over in foul territory. He just put his hand up in front of his face, you know, like you'll do when you are just a little bit embarrassed. He was making the gesture towards Steve Barber. Steve, I think, said something to him. All in good fun, and the ball was caught by Robinson, no harm done.
All right, here's Jim Northrup, who has the only base hit for Detroit, and he takes strike one. I'll say one thing. The minute that ball went up with that wind blowing, you could sense that it was going to be trouble for somebody, and Bill Robinson was right there to help out. All right, Barber is ready. The one-strike pitch to Northrup. Pitch high and tight. 1-1.
Just hear Mattel calling over to Barber. If you want me to catch him, make him hit it to me.
Nice big hoppers. One hop. 1 ball, 1 strike. Barber ready. Here it comes. And Northrup, a big swing and misses. Strike 2. Jim Northrup takes a healthy cut. He's the kind of a guy that when he swings, he doesn't do anything lightly. No half swings with him if he can help it. Everything is a big riffle. Wally Moses trying to cut down on that. Tommy Tresh does the same thing for the Yankees. And he himself has been trying to find ways to cut down his swing. But once that ball leaves a pitcher's hand, instinct takes over, and it's pretty hard to react. Here's the 1-2 delivery. Fouled back. Count holds 1 ball, 2 strikes. Tresh has been trying to cut down his swing for 6 or 7 years, and something about it, the slower you throw the ball to Tommy, the harder he'll swing. Somebody just got themselves a souvenir, getting a hand from the fans. Nearly 44,000 on hand today. Big doubleheader here at Tiger Stadium. Barber to Northrup, hits to left field. Roy White going back near the track makes the play. Northrup has good power. He's a dangerous guy up there. When he gets a hold of one, he can ride it to any part of this park. Here's Bill Freehan now, who flied to right in the first. Freehan, the only catcher since Mickey Cochran to bat 300, and he did that right on the button 4 years ago. Takes a fastball. It's in there, strike 1. I should say the only catcher for the Detroit Tigers since Mickey Cochran. Pretty good company to be in. Cochran and Dickey, the two greats of the era, running from the late 20s into the early 40s. And then I guess you have to put Berra and Campanella as the next two great ones in there. And then a new group coming on, the Freehans and the Torreys. And time really dictates the greatness of a ball player. It has to be measured not only by your record, but by your durability. 1-1 the count now to Bill Freehan. Barber delivers again. There's a foul off. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Beautiful day here in Detroit. We had some trouble with the weather in the first game in the early going. A big black cloud swooshed in here and dropped a few driblets of rain, but that was about it. Now it's just windy and clear with some clouds in the distance here. Fastball misses outside to Freehan. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Two and two. Freehan, the right-hand hitter. Barber, the left-hand pitcher. Steve ready. Here's a 2-2 pitch. On the ground, foul down the third base side. Bobby Cox over there grabs it and throws it back to Steve Barber. Defense shifts hard to the left for Bill Freehan. Freehan, as we've mentioned many times before, wears that knee pad just above his left elbow. He gets hit there quite frequently. In fact, he really crowds that plate. Gets hit primarily from right-hand pitching. 4th inning, no score, 2 outs, 2-2 the count. Here's the pitch. On the ground, foul again. Cuccinello at third base has this one. Tony, quite a second baseman in his day. Long-time first lieutenant of Al Lopez with the Indians and the White Sox. Now we've got to have a few balls to look over, and that's one I haven't seen before. There was a ball handed to the plate umpire, Russ Getz, by the man behind the plate who handles the balls, and one was rejected right on the spot. Usually when they're in that bag behind home plate, they're balls that are used in the game and are always accepted. But this time, Getz took one look at this one. It looked dark and dirty. He just said, take it back.
Had a change of ball boys down there, Jerry. The original man getting a little break, and this young man may not be quite up on the trade there. He may have gotten some of the balls mixed up.
Okay, here's the 2-2 pitch now to Freeman way outside. 3-2. Barber, after he did that, swung his left arm around as if he wanted to get a little bit loose. And this is the kind of a day that if you have a tendency to get stiff with that wind blowing, it'll do it to you. 3-2 the count now. On deck, Mickey Stanley. All right, Barber ready, delivers, and Freeman fouls it back. Still Freeman, a tough customer, hanging in there. Freeman has had a long afternoon. He was 0 for 4 in that first ball game. He ended the game hitting into a double play. The Yankees won it 4-3 and then flied to right in the first inning of this one. So he's looking for his first base hit on the afternoon. All right, Barber checking Freeman, getting the sign from Rodriguez. He has it. The payoff pitch on the way. It's ball 4. So that's the first walk given up by Steve. Well, the final score, the White Sox beat the Twins 3-2. The winner was Fisher. The loser was Perry. The Indians, who are playing good baseball, beat the Senators 10-5 in the first game, and they lead 2-0 after an inning and a half of the second. Mickey Stanley stepping in with Freeman at first base. The pitch to Stanley way outside. Ball 1. You know, Frank, you have watched Barber the last 3 or 4 years, and I noticed that he'll go along very smoothly, and then suddenly, all in one inning, seems to lose the plate.
Steve has a tendency, Jerry, to battle himself out there. If he gets a little bit wild, he gets a little bit disgusted with himself.
There's another one. Ball 2. It's 2-0 now.
Sort of the old cycle there. The wilder he gets, the madder he gets, and the madder he gets, the wilder he gets. And sometimes he'll work himself out of it, and sometimes he won't. But he had been pitching very smoothly in this game. Of course, Freehan stepped there, fouled a few off. Got on, and now he's gone behind 2-0 to Mickey Stanley.
Okay, Barber is ready, sets, delivers, and it's in there. He got it right across the plate. 2 balls and a strike. Steve has given up only 1 base hit to Northrop. Walked 1 man, Bill Freehan, and the count is 2 balls and 1 strike to Mickey Stanley. Right-hand batter. Waiting, Barber delivers, swings and fouls it off. Almost got Rodriguez. 2-2. That ball just ticked Rodriguez. Looked as though it might have got part of his meat hand. Now they're going to have another baseball. Barber rejecting the one that he was thrown. Baseballs are made to specification, but in making them, even though they're machine-made, they're hand-sewn, I believe, and still are in some cases. I think that's true, isn't it? Don't they hand-sew the ball, or do they?
Jerry, I really don't know.
Well, nevertheless, some seams are different on some balls than they are on others, and the pitcher may not like the feel of one ball, and he'll reject it. It's something we can find out about. I think they're still hand-sewn. I don't know. They used to be. There's a ground ball. Cox at third, bobbles it. Up with that. Throw to first, not in time. And that'll have to go as an error for Bobby Cox. That was a tough half hop. He knocked the ball down. It dribbled between his legs about 3 feet, and by the time he got back and threw it, Stanley had beaten it out. Down to second base is Freehan, and now here is Jim Price. This is the first threat by the Tigers in this ball game. No score in the game. Last half of the 4th inning. All right, Barber. He's set. Price is waiting. Here's the pitch, low and inside. Ball one. Defense. Straight away in the infield. Shading into left center is Pepitone in center field. Barber getting the sign from Rodriguez. Stanley at first base. Freehan at second. 2 out. Here's the pitch. Center field, high in the air. Pepitone waiting for this one. Moving over, makes the play, and the side is retired. No runs, no hits, 1 error, 2 left, and the score after 4 full innings of play, Yankees nothing and Detroit nothing.
Often, little pleasures in life are the most enjoyable. If you like good food, a real taste treat, and the satisfied feeling that comes after a great meal, you'll love Carol's Club Burgers. The 3-decker Club Burger, a Carol's exclusive, is something extra special in size, taste, and satisfaction. It's the big sandwich that's one of the little pleasures of life awaiting you anytime at Carol's. Carol's Club Burger, for very hungry people.
Arrow shape saves your face, and to shave your face, that's Arrow shape. The face saver.
A man's face needs protection shave after shave, and Arrow Shave protects with its special skin and beard conditioners. Your face looks better, feels better too.
Arrow shape saves your face, and if you shave your face, that's Arrow shape. The face saver.
Okay, all set to go here in the 5th inning. No score in the ball game. For the Yankees, Rodriguez, Michael, and Barber will be the batters, the bottom third of the Yankee hitting order. Rodriguez, who walked and then was out on that unusual wild pitch that got by the catcher and then bounced back where Price could get to it in time to fire to Hiller, in time to get the sliding Rodriguez at the plate. It was a crazy inning. The 3rd inning with the Yankees batting. And the first pitch to Rodriguez. Ball one inside. All right, Hiller is ready again. He's into the windup. The pitch is a changeup outside, 2-0. The 2-0 delivery, strike call right down the middle. The 2-1 pitch now, swung on a miss, 2-2. Rodriguez, who's had 1 base hit so far since having been recalled from Syracuse. He's 1 for 7. He walked, as we mentioned, in the 3rd inning. Now with a 2-2 count. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Nobody out, nobody on. Hiller, fastball, just missed inside. He even put a little mustard on that one. Payoff pitch coming up now. Rodriguez waiting. Here it is. Hits it high in the air. Infield fly. Waiting for it. Near first base. Freehan, he's got it. So there's 1 up and 1 down. Here's Gene Michael, who has a base hit. Yankees have 2 hits. Michael, single to left. Pepitone with a scratch single. Michael hits one to right field, jumps on the first pitch, and losing it momentarily was Northrup, and then coming on and making the play. He couldn't find the ball for a minute. Looked like it might drop, but came on at the last moment to put it away. Now, here's Barber, who walked in that wild third inning. Two outs, nobody on, fifth inning. Yankees nothing, Detroit nothing. Hiller to Barber, curve is high. Ball one. John Hiller, a lot of time, gets the sign. The pitch to Steve is low and inside, 2-0. Hiller having trouble pitching to his opposite number, Steve Barber. And Jim Price walks out about 8 steps and fires the ball back as if to say, good grief, don't you know who's hitting? It's the pitcher. The 2-0 delivery. It's 3-0. I guess sometimes you can get a thing like that going for you. 3 balls, no strikes. 2 outs, Barber hitting. The next one is low. He lost him on 4 straight pitches. The second time that he walked Barber. And that's the 3rd walk in the ball game for John Hiller. That ought to make his manager happy, walking the opposite number twice. Now here's Horace Clark, who struck out, hit into a forced play. Clark takes a strike right in there. Fifth inning, no score on the ball game. Yankees won the first one 4-3. Barber at first. John Hiller sets, delivers, and Clark hits one to left field, high in the air. Over there is Comer, near the wall, right at the wall in fair territory, makes the play. That ball carried much farther than anyone expected. So the Yankees are out of there. No runs, no hits, no errors, 1 man left, and the score, after 4.5 innings of play, Yankees nothing and Detroit nothing.
Atlantic keeps your car on the go. Atlantic keeps your car on the go. There is so much you can see. Go, the view is fine and it's free.
There's more to driving than simply getting there when your car runs the way it was made to run. Atlantic Imperial gasoline helps it do just that along the Imperial Road.
Atlantic keeps your car on the go.
Whenever you hit the road, make it the Imperial Road. Every road you travel becomes the Imperial Road with Atlantic Imperial gasoline.
Atlantic keeps your car on the go.
So we go into the last half of the 5th inning, a scoreless ball game. It'll be Dick Trzaskowski, Ray Euler, and John Hiller for Detroit, and coming on to carry it down to the wire, Frank Messer. Frank?
Thank you very much, Jerry Colvin. Dick Trzaskowski popped up to the shortstop. Gene Michael, his first time at bat. Trzaskowski, right-hand batter. Euler on deck. Then the pitcher, John Hiller. Barber works to the lower third of the batting order. Left-hander pumps and throws low and inside. Ball 1. Ball 2, just outside this time to Hiller. Had the pitch around his knees, but just off the outside corner. 43,912 on hand for this twin bill today. And the pitch is high. Ball 3, way upstairs. Barber has walked one, allowed one base hit. And he has struck out one. Rocks back on the right foot. Here's the pitch. Strike called as Trzaskowski was taking all the way. 3 balls, 1 strike. Three 1 pitch. Strike 2 over the outside corner. Now Trzaskowski steps out. This wind keeps whipping dirt up in the batter's faces. Every once in a while, they'll step out after getting some dust or particles of dirt in their eyes. There is ball 4, lowered inside, almost hit him on the foot. Ball rolls away from Rodriguez, but he retrieves it. He lost his mitt going after it, left the mitt laying there at the plate. Went scrambling after that baseball because, of course, on a ball 4, the batter can go as far as he wants to try to go. So Ray Euler with a man on, second walk from Barber. Euler grounded out to shortstop Gene Michael his first time up. Mantle holds against the base runner, and the pitch. Euler takes a strike just under the belt on the inside part of the plate. Jim Bowden, who will open against the Minnesota Twins tomorrow night, sitting on the top steps of the dugout, charting Barber's pitches. A look to first, and the pitch to Euler. Outside. 1 ball, 1 strike. Yankees won the first game 4-3. Throw to first base, drives Trzaskowski back. Runner going, pitch is swung on and missed. Rodriguez fires to second, no. Stolen base for Trzaskowski. Rodriguez's throw to Clark was off the shortstop side of second. So Trzaskowski steals second, and the Tigers have a runner in scoring position. A ball and 2 strikes to Euler as he swung on the pitch to protect the runner. Euler chokes up 2 or 3 inches on the bat handle now. Waits. The pitch to him is swung on. Fly ball out into left field. If it's a fair ball, it's trouble. It's foul. Roy White had no chance of catching up with that ball, but it fell foul. The count rides 1-2. This stadium is enclosed. By that I mean the stands go all the way around. There is no open spot in it. And the wind sometimes comes around here in little gusts, much like a wind tunnel. All right, the 1-2 pitch again to Euler. Way up high, and Rodriguez had to leap for it. I think Jerry Barber is undergoing one of those times right now where he has no idea when that pitch leaves his hand where it might go. They've been quite erratic.
Frank, I watched him very closely when he walked Trzaskowski, and he didn't want to walk him, but he made a great fuss over it, and normally a pitcher shouldn't worry about one base on balls, but to Steve you could feel that maybe it was something that was really desperate at that moment.
All right, he is 2-2 now to Ray Euler. Checks Trzaskowski at second. And the pitch. Struck him out. Swing and a miss baller, and for Barber, his second strikeout. Here comes his other strikeout, John Hillard. Hiller, a left-hand pitcher, but a right-hand batter. He and Barber both wearing uniform number 18. Steve's first pitch, swing and a miss. I'll tell you, Jerry Hiller looks about as bad as Dean Chance up there with the bat in his hand.
I don't know if people know what you just said, but that's pretty sorry.
He waves it around in circles. Takes a pitch outside. 1 ball, 1 strike. I tell you, he's a big man. If you throw the ball where he's swinging that side, he might give it a pretty good lift.
Frank, we had a pitcher by the name of Bob Cazava who was like Dean Chance, couldn't ever hit, but one day, with the bases loaded, in the 9th inning, he did get a hit and won a ball game. So you never know.
There is one way up high, and Rodriguez off his feet again for it. 2 balls and a strike. Hiller stepped out, looking down at Cuccinello. One pitch. Hit on the ground to third and past Cox out into left field. Base hit. Here comes the run. Tigers lead it 1-0. You know, Jerry, he had to be throwing that ball right where he was swinging. Ground ball just inside the line at third. Cox made a quick move for it, but it skipped past his glove and on into left field in foul territory. So Hiller knocks in the first run of the game. New York Yankee baseball, and we'll stop right here for station identification.
Hi, this is Jerry Ducey. Join me for my telephone talk show, weeknights here at 810 on your dial, WGY Schenectady.
Hiller with his first hit of the year, maybe the first of his career, Jerry, down there at first base. The run is home. And Dick McAuliffe steps in. McAuliffe has popped up and flied to center. Swings and misses, strike 1. We're not trying to downgrade anybody when we talk about their ability with a bat, but a lot of pitchers just are not hitters. They make their money pitching the ball, and they know nothing about swinging a bat. And some of them just cannot learn to. Others are pretty good hitters. Swing and a miss by McAuliffe. Strike 2. Tigers now show 1 run on 2 hits. Yankees no runs, 2 hits. Mantle is backed off, not holding against the base runner. McAuliffe chops a foul ball off to the right side. No balls, 2 strikes. 1 away. There's the set. Here's the pitch. Fouled off the shin guards of Rodriguez. You know, Jerry, there's when Steve Barber last year pitched his no-hitter and lost it to Detroit, I got a telegram from a lady who signed it, and not one of these anonymous things, got a wire, telling me how I had cost Steve Barber his no-hitter by mentioning the fact on the air that he was pitching a no-hit ball game or had not allowed a base hit through the game. Now she'll accuse me of getting a run in here. Swing and a miss by McAuliffe, strike 3. So there's the 3rd strikeout for Barber. But I bring up this telegram. It had one great line. It said, "Don't you know that Steve Barber is having enough trouble right now without your help?"
Well, you know, it's impossible to broadcast a game that is a no-hitter without telling people about it and be a broadcaster. How can you possibly do a 9-inning game, have it be a no-hitter, and not tell people about it? Because then there's no excitement in the game, or if there is excitement, they must think you're nuts if you don't tell them.
That's right. All right, Wayne Comer steps in and takes a ball one. Barber checks Hiller at first base, kicks and draws, ground ball hit to the left side through the hole into left field, base hit. White charging in quickly to hold Hiller at second base, and does. So the second hit of the inning, and the Tigers with 2 outs have runners at first and second, and they bring up the left-hand hitting Jim Northrup. An exchange of baseballs between Barber and plate umpire Russ Getz. When Barber gets a new ball from the umpire, he steps off the mound and massages it, rubs it. He has very, very strong hands. Jerry, they tell me some pitchers can actually loosen the seams on a baseball. Their hands are so strong. And Steve really works on that ball when he gets a new one. Northrup is 1 for 2. Pitch to him. Down low in the third. Rodriguez blocks it.
Frank, the first year I broke in, there was a great pitcher, pitched for Connie Mack back, in the teens, I guess, Chief Bender, who was working for the Yankee system then, and he showed me how he used to work a ball with his fingers, and he'd get a little lump and a spot, and he said, now you hold it this way, and the ball will go that way, and he could make it go that way.
Pitch to Northrup, hit on the ground to the right side. Mantle backhand stop. Barber over the cover. The ball gets good. Northrup kicks it. Barber has it. Here comes the run home, and Hiller scores. Mantle moving to his right, backhanded it. Threw low to Barber. And Mantle will be charged with an error on the throw as he threw the ball down at Barber's feet. That ball would have rolled over toward the stands had not Northrup kicked it. Northrup drop-kicked the ball right back to Barber. Barber's so surprised, I think, to see the ball come back. He scrambled for it, fell down, couldn't quite get hold of it to throw home, and Hiller scores from second base. There is no run batted in. An error is charged to Mantle on the throw. And out in the Yankee bullpen now, Fred Talbot begins warming up. The batter is Bill Freehan. Comer raced around to third. And with runners at first and third, 2 outs, Freehan steps in. Now Barber calls Rodriguez out. The hit Comer had a moment ago, of course, he is a rookie, but it was not his first major league hit. He had one last year. Now with runners at the corners, Freehan the batter. Barber sets and throws, outside and high, ball 1. Tigers leading 2-0. The look for the runners and the pitch to Freehan. High, ball 2. There's only one left-hand pitcher in the American League, Jerry, now active, that has more victories career-wise than Barber, and that would be Jim Cott. I believe has won 116. Barber's pitch, high to Freehan, ball 3. Barber came into this game with 101 victories. Talbot loosening up in the bullpen. Of course, the big year for Barber was 1963 when he won 20 games for the Orioles. Checks the runners at first and third. The 3-0 pitch to Freehan, way outside. Ball 4, and the bases are loaded. The third walk given up by Barber. The bases are loaded, and the batter will be center fielder Mickey Stanley. Stanley, 0 for 2. Pitch is over but low. Ball 1.
Frank, I get the feeling here that Ralph Houck is trying, if he can, to nurse some confidence into Barber. In other words, to try to let him get out of this tough spot. And sometimes one position like this, to get out of a tough spot, can make or break you.
Barber glances at third. The full windup on the pitch. Way up high and outside, and again Rodriguez has to move out of position for it, and Ralph Houck is on his way now to the mound. With Comer at third, Northrup at second, and Freehan at first. Barber behind Stanley, 2 balls, no strikes, and that last pitch, very wide. Houck has gone out to see if he can help Barber figure out the problem. He'll leave him in. Full windup, and the 2-0 pitch. Strike is called. 2-1. Home plate area in shadows now. Pitcher's mound in the bright sunshine. There's a fly ball out into right field. Bill Robinson's back to the wall, and it is gone. A grand slam homer for Stanley. Stanley's third home run of the year. It comes with the bases loaded, and the Tigers now lead 6-0. Jerry, there's a case of getting that fly ball up in the air, and the wind just kept blowing it and blowing it and blew it right into the stands. The wind blowing out to right. Ninth man to come up is Jimmy Price, and Barber throws over the head of everybody and all the way to the backstop.
Mickey Stanley hit the ball in the right direction to carry it out of here. He got it with that wind, and it was hit well, but the wind did help it a little.
Now Price takes the pitch outside, and the ball counters 2 balls and no strikes. Price is grounded to third, fly to center, 0 for 2 in the game. Down low, ball 3. The first grand slam home run of Mickey Stanley's career. And the 3-0 pitch, right down the middle, 3-1. Of the 6 runs, only 2 will be earned. 3-1 pitch coming. Strike two is called over the inside corner. And the payoff pitch to Stanley. Ground ball to short. Michael Hares on a knee-high hop makes his tag to Mantle in time, and the side is retired. But the Tigers come up with 6 runs on 3 hits. A Yankee error, nobody left, and now at the end of 5, the score is Detroit 6, New York nothing.
Tiparillo asked the American people what they thought of the world's first menthol cigar. New Tiparillo M with menthol.
Excuse me, sir. How does the idea of a menthol cigar sound to you?
Menthol cigar!
Hello? I'm calling for Tiparillo. We'd like your candid opinion about the idea of a menthol cigar.
Menthol cigar?
Pardon me, sir. Yes, would you mind rolling down your window? I'd like to ask you how the idea of putting menthol in a cigar sounds to you.
Then we got wise and didn't mention our cigar was menthol.
Sir, would you mind trying a new taste in cigars from Tiparillo?
Well, what's in it?
Oh, well, here, let me just light it up for you. I'm sure you'll, how does it taste?
Cool.
Cool, huh?
Yeah, kind of refreshing.
Oh, that's good news.
It tastes great. What'd you say the name of the cigar was?
I think we're going to have to call it the great taste that sounds terrible. New Tiparillo M with menthol.
Of the 6 runs scored by the Tigers, only 1 is an earned run, 5 unearned due to the error at first base by Mantle. And now we go to the 6th, and Roy White will lead off for the Yankees, to be followed by Mantle and then Pepitone. As Jerry was telling you about the ticket outlets, you may have heard a cheer and a roar go up from the crowd. That was from the folks out in the center field seats who gave Mickey Stanley quite a welcome when he went out to take his position in the outfield. Roy White grounded back to the pitcher and grounded out to third. Tiller throws fast and low, ball 1. There's a swing and a fly ball out into right center. Stanley circling under it. Makes the catch. 1 down. Ricky Mantle is grounded to short, grounded to third. Swings on the first pitch, ground ball to short. Euler makes his throw in time. Two quick outs here in the top of the 6th, and the batter will be Joe Pepitone. Joe had an infield hit in the 4th inning. He's had 5 hits in 14 trips in this series. Moving up close to the 300 mark in batting. Tiller misses downstairs. Ball 1. And the 1-0 pitch. Foul back. 1 ball, 1 strike. Nobody on. 1-1 to Pepitone. Curveball backs him off inside. 2 balls and a strike. Jerry, if you want to get a little bit seasick, look out there at the flagpole. It's waving about 2 feet. Fouls it off the mask of the plate umpire. 2-2.
Stand under it and try it. That'll really do the job.
We don't feel the wind in here, but it is blowing very hard and to right. 2-2 to Pepitone. Curve just missed. Full count, 3-2.
Whatever that byplay was between Pepitone and the Tiger bench, it was great.
And Pepitone was ready to look for his fielder's glove. 3-2 pitch coming. Fastball is fouled back and out of play. Ruben Amaro is loosening up down in the Yankee bullpen area. He will come in for Mantle. 3-2 pitch. Struck him out with a fastball. The Yankees are 3 up, 3 down. And at the end of 5.5 innings of play, the score is Detroit 6 and the Yankees nothing.
If you're like most people, chances are you've been on trips to some very exciting places. But you could be overlooking some exciting places right under your own nose. There are plenty of them in the great Northeast, and it's easy to include several in a short 1 or 2 day trip with the help of Atlantic's free Weekender tour guides. These are more than maps. They're complete little travel brochures for this particular area. Each one has several fascinating tours all planned out for you with suggestions on what to look for, descriptions of the places you'll see, bits of history, everything to make your trip more interesting and meaningful. This weekend, do something different. Treat the family to an extra vacation by going on an Atlantic Weekender tour. Stop by your favorite Atlantic station for your free Weekender tour guides. And while you're there, fill up with Atlantic Imperial, the clean carburetor gasoline.
We go now to the bottom half of the 6th inning. Dick Trzaskowski, who led off the 5th for the Tigers, leads off here in the 6th. He has walked and popped up to the shortstop, scored a run, and has a stolen base in this ball game. Ruben Amaro now at first base for the Yankees. Barber's first pitch to Trzaskowski, strike 1 is called. First time this year, Jerry, that Mantle has played in both games of a doubleheader other than just pinch hitting. 1 strike pitch, foul back on the ground, strike 2.
I'm sure, too, Frank, that with the exception of the score being 6-0 in favor of Detroit, he'd still be in there if it was close.
Nothing in 2 to Trzaskowski. Barber throws outside. 1 ball, 2 strikes. When we first came into Detroit, the first game of the series on Friday night, stopped down the Tiger dugout, and that was one of the first questions just about everybody asked was, how is Mantle? How are his legs? How is he feeling? Commands great respect from his fellow players. 1-2 pitch. Foul back.
Well, generally speaking, Frank, Mickey is feeling great, really, when you consider all of the problems that he's had through the years and the fact that he's 36 years old. I think he's doing an outstanding job.
And the 1-2 now to Trzaskowski in the dirt. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Shirt sleeve crowd here in Detroit today. Temperature when we came out of the ballpark was 75 degrees. They have reached the 80 mark. 2-2 now. Ground ball to short. Michael has and a belt high hop. Throws to Amaro in time. 1 away. Oh, I don't know. I don't guess it did reach 80 degrees because when those clouds came up just before the first game started and then we had that little sprinkle of rain, and now the breeze. It probably didn't reach 80, but it's been a comfortable afternoon. Here's Ray Euler. He is grounded out and struck out. Swings and misses, strike 1.
You know, something that we haven't spoken of much, but another great star who has been plagued with injuries, 4 broken bones and a congenital foot problem, was Al Kaline. He's had all kinds of injuries, but the injuries that he has had have healed, whereas Mantle's has been chronic.
A ball outside down to water, and the count is 1 ball, 1 strike. Barber to the windup, 1-1 pitch. Ground ball foul past Cuccinello. They don't expect any help from Kaline probably for another month. Figure he'll have the cast on, then he has to build the arm back up. Well, Sandy Alper has just checked and tells us it is even 80 degrees. Foul tip into the mitt of Cacciarelli Rodriguez. Or was it into his mitt? Plate umpire Getz said it was, and now first base umpire Soar said it was in the dirt, and it is not a strikeout. Foul tip not caught. Laurie Moses chasing down a big oversized air-filled ball, play ball, that had drifted out of the field, tried to puncture it with his spikes and fell down. Didn't hurt himself. Crowd roaring. Order still in there. It was a foul tip not held by Rodriguez. Getz had called it strike 3. But Soar said no. He was overruled on it. We could hear Soar all called down all the way from here. That it hit the dirt. So again, the 1-2 pitch to him. This one is a strikeout for sure. 4th strikeout for Barber. And the applause is for pitcher John Hiller. It's one right back to Barber on 1 hop. He throws it over to Amaro, and the side is retired. 3 up, 3 down, nothing across for the Tigers. And now at the end of 6 innings, the score is Detroit 6 and the Yankees nothing.
From the WGY Sports Desk, at the Junior College World Series at Grand Junction, Colorado, Hudson Valley was defeated this afternoon by a score of 7-5 by Blinn, Texas, thus eliminating Hudson Valley from contention in the World Series of Junior Colleges. Today's score the same as yesterday's, 7-5 at Grand Junction, Colorado. Now here are the scores from Tiger Stadium.
The first of a doubleheader, the White Sox beat the Twins 3-2. The second game, Minnesota failed to score top of the first. White Sox batting bottom of the first. In a single game on the coast, it's Oakland 4, California 1, with the A's batting in the bottom of the 5th inning. Doubleheader in New York. Cardinals beat the Mets 6-3, and they lead 2-1 after 4.5 of the second ball game. In other action in the National League, Pittsburgh 8, the Braves 4. That's the first game. The second game of that doubleheader, Pirates 3. And the Braves 1. That's after 4 innings of play. See, they're in the 11th inning, and Houston is batting. It's all tied up 2 apiece, the Cubs and the Astros. Cincinnati beat Philadelphia 5-3. And the Giants lead the Dodgers 4-0 in the 7th.
Bobby Cox takes a pitch low and outside. 1 ball, no strikes to Cox. He is 0 for 2, lined out to the third baseman and flied out to left. Hiller's pitch, fastball is in, strike called. Through 6 innings of our game, Tigers have 6 runs, 4 hits, no errors. The Yankees, no runs, 2 hits, and 2 errors. Talbot throwing again in the Yankee bullpen. Strike 2 with a curve. Cox taking. Ball, 2 strikes. Bill Robinson on deck, then Ellie Rodriguez. 1-2 pitch. Fastball is fouled back. Here's the 1-2. Fast and low. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Cox takes ball 3 down in the dirt. So the string runs out. 3 balls, 2 strikes. With this stiff breeze, a lot of papers and foreign objects blowing around the field. Foul ball off his foot. Oh, that one hurt. Cox swung at it, fouled it straight down off his foot. Goes out around in front of the plate, down the first base line to try to walk it off. Hiller throws, hit on the ground to the second baseman, McAuliffe. He makes his throw to Freehan in time. Bill Robinson steps in, and on New York Yankee baseball, let's pause for station identification.
Hi, this is Jerry Ducey. Join me for my telephone talk show, weeknights here at 810 on your dial, WGY Schenectady.
First pitch outside to Robinson, ball 1. Bill is struck out, popped up to first. Swings in this one, ground ball left side, backhanded deep in the hole by Euler, makes his throw, and he's got him. Euler went deep to his right, to backhand it. Straightened up, threw to first base, and got Robinson by a couple of steps. 2 away, and Ellie Rodriguez. Ellie Rodriguez, a native of Puerto Rico. Today was Puerto Rico Day, I believe, in New York, Jerry, and we hope that our good neighbors had a very wonderful day. Rodriguez, after the first pitch, bounces one to third, and he is thrown out by the third baseman, Krzyzewski. And Hiller, for the second inning in a row, sets the Yankees down in order. Nothing across, and at the end of 6.5, the score is Detroit 6, New York nothing.
Hey, baby, got a sunburn? Get Unburn, the new sunburn remedy that relieves pain in seconds.
Sunburn today, unburn tonight. Sunburn today, unburn tonight. Out in the sun too long. Unburn out in the sun. Got that dried out feeling. Out in the sun too long. Get Unburn, what'll you do when your skin starts peeling?
Get remarkable new Unburn. It cools, comforts, and soothes. Relieves your sunburn pain in seconds and conditions your sun-damaged skin for hours. Don't take a chance on suffering. Be prepared. Get new Unburn today.
Feeling so bad, hurting all over. What'll you do tonight? Sunburn today. Tonight you'll feel better with Unburn. Sunburn today, new Unburn tonight.
Tigers present the top of the order in the lower half of the seventh inning. McAuliffe, Comer, and Northrup. McAuliffe is 0 for 3. Popped up, fly to center, and struck out. Barber had just the one real bad inning, the fifth, when the Tigers scored all 6 runs, 5 of them unearned on 3 hits. Oh, there's one of those little whirlwinds Jerry was talking about, blowing about 150 pounds of dirt off the top of the infield. So time was called. There comes another one.
This is a very silty infield. You know, I don't know what it is, but it's a very fine grain of dirt that seems to rise to the top, and that's why you get a lot of this here in this park.
Now McAuliffe, and the first pitch. Foul back. In the 5th inning, the Tigers scored their 6 runs on 2 singles, one by the pitcher John Hiller, one by Wayne Comer. Grand slam home run by Mickey Stanley. 2 walks and an error. Line drive out into left field, and it falls in for the base hit. Roy White plays it on a big hop. So McAuliffe drills one to the opposite field and has his first hit of this ball game. And for Detroit, base hit number 5. And now Wayne Comer. Again, the wind blowing the dirt all around and time call. Comer now wants a little conference with Tony Cuccinello. They meet halfway down the third baseline. Wayne Comer is from Shenandoah, Virginia, 24 years old. He was originally signed by the Washington Senators. Barber's pitch to him. He squares and bunts it down the third baseline, and Cox lets it roll, and it goes foul. Just the last turn of the ball, spun it foul. It would have been a tremendous bunt otherwise. Stayed right on the foul line, and just before it got to the bag, it made one final turn and rolled foul.
We just found out one thing, Frank. How this infield is slanted. It's turtleback.
Comer steps back in with a 1-strike count. Once again, this time it's going to stay fair. Cox makes the pickup. The throw to first in time. McAuliffe moves up to second base as Comer is thrown out by Bobby Cox. Sacrifice for Comer. I guess they'll give him a sacrifice on it. You know, sometimes score doesn't have to. Ball game, 6 runs different. They may not give him a sacrifice on that, Jerry.
I would think they would, from the fact that he squared around a bunt and did it twice in a row and both times in the same direction. I think he was under orders, even though, generally speaking, a 6-0 game at this stage would not say let's sacrifice. But he did square around and made a definite attempt to get the ball down.
Jim Northrup steps in now with McAuliffe at second. All right, now we are told it is a sacrifice. There's a ball, 1 to the left-hand hitting Northrup. Well, as long as it took them to get the information down, they discussed it upstairs. McAuliffe at second, 1 away. Northrup waiting. Barber glances back over the left shoulder. Comes to the sun, and here's his pitch. Ground ball sharply hit, and it takes a hop over Amara's shoulder out into right field. Racing onto the plate. McAuliffe scores. Ruben Amaro at first base, all ready to field that ball when it took a real wicked hop and skipped right over his right shoulder and on into right field. It's a base hit for Northrup, his second of the game, a run batted in, and the Tigers lead 7-0.
I have to say that Ruben Amaro came as close as he'll ever come to getting a new set of teeth on that one, Frank, because that ball just zipped by his ear. And had it been about 6 inches to the left, it hit him right square in the face.
Northrup at first base, and Freehan steps in. He has walked twice and flied to right. Takes a pitch outside. Ball 1. Tigers have their 7th run and their 6th hit. See Jim Turner picking up the phone in the Yankee dugout. Connects him with the bullpen. 1-0 pitch. Foul to the upper deck on the first base side. And a little scrambling down there in the bullpen dugout. We see Talbot's jacket come off. So does Jim Higgins. So Talbot will start loosening up again. Northrup shortly to first base, and just as Barber was ready to pitch, that wind gust blew some dirt up in Freehan's face, and he was given time by Getz. Barber was in his move, and normally An umpire will not call time, but under the circumstances with that dirt blowing around, sure Freehan would not have been able to see for a moment there. Check the pitch. There's a line drive to left. Roy White is there and makes the catch. Two down, and the hand is for Mickey Stanley, who, his last time up, hit a grand slam home run, the first of his career. It was his third home run of the year, the first grand slam he had ever hit as a major leaguer. First pitch to him, ground ball at short. Michael over in the hole, boots it. All hands are safe. Michael skipping back into his right. Did I hear that correctly, Jerry? Base hit?
You heard it correctly. I think the official scorer here is trying to make the Tiger hitters feel good today, because if there ever was an error, that was an error. And there have been, I think the other day, Dick Hauser had one behind second base that certainly could have been called an error, and they gave the man a hit as well.
All right, so Michael didn't boot it.
Just didn't catch it.
First pitch to Jimmy Price is foul back. Now, we're not, like I said, we're not trying to downgrade or take anything away, but a ball like that was a playable ball.
Frank, I take strong exception to scoring from this standpoint that it's not regulated properly. I mean, what's good in one park isn't good in another, and it's always the umpire's discretion, the official scorer's discretion as to whether or not it's a hit or an error.
Price swings and lines a base hit through the hole into left field. Around third, heading for home is Northrup, and he scores standing up. Stanley stopped at second, and Price has a run batted in. The Tigers now lead 8-0. For Price, his fourth run batted in of the season. And now Dick Tracewski climbs aboard. Tigers here in the seventh have scored two more on 4 hits. They have a total of 8 runs on 8 hits now. Barber looks back to second base, and his first pitch to Tracewski hit on the ground, foul off the third base line. There was a play in that game yesterday, Jerry, where Gibbs was given the error on that throw to second base.
I read that earlier. I spent an entire minute on that one. In fact, if you'd like to hear it again, I got the page.
There's a ball outside. The count is 1-1. Well, I learned something today from Maury Allen of the Post, who is one of the scorers in New York. But I did not know it was in the rules to the official score. I'll call that on in just a moment. Barber ready with a 1-1 pitch. A ball 2. Maury told me that it is written into the scorer's rules now, Jerry, that the catcher throws to second on a steal attempt, and neither the shortstop nor the second baseman cover the bag. The score is to ask the manager which one of the infielders was to have covered on that play and charge that infielder with the error, not the catcher, if it is a good throw. And I didn't know that. I had thought it was an automatic error on the catcher if an infielder did not cover second. Tracewski takes low, and it's ball 3, 3-1.
Well, this rule pretty much covers it. It says that an error shall be charged against any fielder whose failure to stop or try to stop an accurately thrown ball permits a runner to advance, providing there was occasion for the throw. If such a throw be made to second base, the scorer shall determine whether it was the duty of the second baseman or the shortstop to stop the ball, and an error shall be charged to the negligent player.
There's a strike, 2. Tracewski thought he had a walk, started down the first baseline, and the count is full, 3-2.
The case of the play yesterday where Gibbs got the error was the fact that too many men covered, but the man that was negligent in corrupting the play should have been charged with the error.
So the 3-2 pitch with the runners going, and it's ball 4 inside. Krzyzewski walks, the bases are loaded, and Ralph Houk will bring in Fred Talbot. Barber goes 6 2/3 innings, charged with 8 runs. Only 3 of the 8 runs have been earned. He has given up 8 base hits, walked 4, and struck out 4. So with the bases loaded and 2 outs, Fred Talbot comes on.
Fred Talbot coming in to pitch for New York.
This will be Talbot's second time on in relief this year. He has started 8 games, has a record of no wins, 6 losses. Talbot made starts his first 2 appearances this year against the Minnesota Twins. One at Yankee Stadium and one at Minnesota. Worked in relief against the Oakland A's. That is his only other relief appearance. He started against the Tigers once at Yankee Stadium in the second game of a doubleheader on April 28th. Yankees lost the game 3-2 to John Hiller, who was pitching this afternoon for Detroit. Talbot did not figure in that decision. Womack was the loser. Talbot started the second game of the Memorial Day doubleheader against Washington. His last time out, pitched 5 innings, gave up 3 runs on 6 hits, and was a loser to Pasquale 6-2. He'll pitch to Ray Euler with the bases loaded and 2 outs. Tigers leading 8-0. Euler was struck out twice and grounded out to the shortstop. Talbot's first pitch, swing and a miss, strike 1. Next pitch to him. Low. 1 ball, 1 strike. Getting back to what we were talking about a while ago, Jerry, that scoring play on Gibbs, I have a feeling that, in all fairness, the official score might change that, take that error away from Gibbs. Because he was a poor catcher down there, sees the guy running to second base, makes a perfect throw, and it's messed up at second. It's through no fault of his own, and he has to take the error. It isn't fair. High pop-up right side. Horace Clarke fighting the wind, under the ball, drifting, and makes the catch. So Talbot gets Euler to end the inning. The Tigers get 2 runs on 4 hits. There were no Yankee errors and 3 men are left on base. At the end of 7, the score. The Tigers 8 and New York nothing.
Here's baseball's favorite feathery fan, the White Owl girl.
Hi, Joe.
Hey, you're at every ball game. You must really love the ball players.
Well, I prefer the ones who smoke White Owl. Like him, over there in the bullpen warming up.
Good man. Saved over a dozen games last year.
He can play on my team anytime. He knows how to take life big. Prefers the satisfying White Owl New Yorker. The big cigar for the big moment.
But he smokes them even when he doesn't win.
There's more to life than baseball, Joe.
Like what?
Like knowing how to look good off the playing field. A White Owl does that for a man. Take the tall, slim White Owl Ranger.
I do. It's just great. The right shape, the right taste.
Or the mellow White Owl Invincible. The cigar that makes you feel that way.
How?
It just does. You know, you get a lot more from a White Owl than just smoke.
We move now to the top half of the 8th inning. The Yankees will have Gene Michael, Fred Talbot, and Horace Clark coming up. And Talbot will bat. He's out on the on-deck circle. He and Michael standing over there. No activity in the bullpen. Bill Freehan engaged in quite a discussion down at first base with umpire Hank Soar, discussing with Field Shore some technicality of the game. And Whitey Ford edged over to listen to the conversation. Here's Michael. He's 1 for 2. Gene had a pinch hit earlier in this series, so he is 2 for 3 against Tiger pitching. Digs Hiller's fastball for a strike. And the 1-strike pitch. Strike 2 is called. Looked like that ball was moving away from Michael as it came in. Our vantage point here is just to the third base side of the plate, hanging right out over the field. Check swing, line drive, foul into the seats. Young lady down there had her hair parted with that one, but it didn't hit her. Two-strike pitch again. Low with a curve. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Jerry, as you look around this ballpark, you see a lot of young ladies. That means, 12, 14, 16 years old out here. Inside pitch to Michael. He drops the bat, getting out of the way. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
Detroit has always been a very rabid baseball town. Win, lose, or draw. They've supported their team through the years very well.
$44,000 out for this game this afternoon. High pitch fills the count to Michael. 3 balls, 2 strikes. And Michael walks. Hiller got ahead of him, 0-2, and then missed with his next 4 pitches. So Michael is on. The 4th walk given up by Hiller. And here is Fred Talbot batting for the first time. Right-hand hitter Talbot takes a strike over the inside corner. Talbot's had 2 hits and 11 at-bats, including a home run out in Minnesota. Pitch is wide. 1 ball, 1 strike. He swings, and this one looks a high pop-up down the right side, chasing it freehand, and in foul territory, he makes the catch. Bill Freehan, with his back to first base, going down the line, made the catch over his shoulder, spun around, looked to see what Michael might have been doing, and in so doing, he fell down, but he held onto the ball. 1 out.
Frank, Freehan doesn't handle his feet like an expert, but he sure goes after those pop-ups like an expert, getting plenty of practice behind the plate as a catcher. That was a fine play on a very tough chance.
Now Horace Clark, who is 0 for 3, pitches high. Price cocked his arm as if he was going to throw to first base, but Freehan, with the Tigers ahead 8-0, not holding against the base runner, Michael. He is backed off, playing halfway. 1-0 pitch to Clark. Swung on, popped up on the left side. Third baseman, Dick Trzaskowski, in toward the mound. Makes the catch. Two outs, and Roy White steps in. He's after the first pitch, lifts one out into shallow right center, and it's going to drop for the base hit. Jim Northrup takes it on one bounce. And Roy White has broken out of the slump. At least he has his first hit in his last 16 at-bats. The Yankees' third hit off John Hiller. Runners at first and second, and Ruben Amaro steps in for the first time since replacing Mantle at first base. He swings in the first pitch, sends a fly ball out into fairly shallow left. Moving forward, Comer, and he makes the catch for out number 3. So for the Yankees in the 8th, it's no runs, 1 hit. There were no Tiger errors, and 2 men are left on. At the end of the top of the 8th, the score is Detroit 8, New York nothing.
There are many classic sandwiches.
Cucumber, unlightly buttered whole wheat.
Peanut butter and jelly.
But today there is only one sandwich which has captured the hearts of all sandwich lovers.
Carol's Three-Decker Club Burger.
A toasted bun, a Carol's all-beef hamburger, catsup, pickle, onion, another bun, a slice of cheese, another burger, lettuce, and topped with Carol's very own royal dressing. That's Carol's Club Burger.
For very hungry people.
You are at the edge of a fully operational Marine Corps airstrip as a Phantom jet leaps into the sky. 4 days ago, this was a jungle. In the Marine Corps, the seemingly impossible gets done. This individual determination to succeed marks a Marine as a man who moves ahead all his life. The Marine Corps builds men in body, mind, and spirit.
Bottom half of the 8th inning for the Tigers, and the pitcher, John Hiller, is due to lead it off. Then McAuliffe, and then Wayne Comer, the left fielder. Sure, you're talking about these Tiger fans. Just checking back quickly, they have been averaging better than 18,000 per game here at Tiger Stadium.
That's a pretty healthy average when you consider they play about 68 dates here, and that'll get better as the weather gets warmer here in the summer.
And they've had some bad weather. It's been cold and it's been rainy a lot here. Hiller swings in the first pitch, ground ball to third, it's foul. Fred Talbot. Relieve Barber in the 7th. Into the windup and the pitch. Ground ball hit to the left side. Cox has it. Makes his throw in time. Miller doesn't really swing. He almost throws his bat out. It sort of stiff arms the bat.
He's one of those fellows who spend a lot of time learning to pitch, but not much learning to hit, Frank. And I mean that very sincerely, because most pitchers don't get a lot of hitting practice. That's one of the reasons why they don't hit well.
Dick McAuliffe is 1 for 4. Swings and misses. He tried to check it. No balls, 1 strike. Talbot rocks back on the left foot, and here's his pitch. Foul back off of Rodriguez. Oh, 2 pitch. Struck him out. Swing and a miss by McAuliffe. So a strikeout for Talbot. 2 away. Here's the young left fielder, Wayne Comer. Jerry told you he was called up when Kaline broke his arm. He has not played much. Been at bat only 2 times prior to this game. Goes for the first one, pops it up on the infield. Horace Clark over near second. Now as the wind takes it, he has to back off a couple of steps, but he makes the catch. And Talbot gets the side in order. 3 up, 3 down, nothing across. And at the end of 8, the score, Detroit 8, New York nothing.
On the go, go with Atlantic Imperial gasoline and drive the Imperial Road.
Atlantic keeps your car on the go. Atlantic keeps your car on the go. So there is so much you can see. Oh, the view is fine and it's free.
Don't worry about how your car will perform along the way. Atlantic Imperial gasoline helps take care of that wherever you go on the Imperial Road.
Atlantic keeps your car on the go.
You're always on the Imperial Road with Atlantic Imperial gasoline.
Top of the ninth inning, the Yankees have Pepitone, Cox, and Bill Robinson coming up against the southpaw John Hiller. Pepitone has had 1 hit in 3 trips, an infield single back in the 4th inning. The Yankees have found the base hits hard to come by off Hiller in this game, only 3 of them. First pitch to Pepe. Fastball is low. Ball 1. Jim Bouton goes against Jim Cox tomorrow night at Yankee Stadium. Game time is 8 o'clock. 1-0 to Pepitone. Check swing and a strike on a breaking pitch. And the 1-1 hit on the ground to the second baseman. McAuliffe digs it up at the edge of the grass over to first base in time. One away, and Bobby Cox, 0 for 3, hit the ball right on the nose in the second inning, but lined it right into the glove of Krasuski at third. Drilled a fly ball fairly deep to left field in the 4th, and then grounded out in the 7th. 0 for 3. Hiller working quickly, pumps the fastball for a strike. And the 1-strike pitch. Line drive out into left, and it's in for the base hit for Cox. Fielded out there by Wayne Comer, uncorked a fine throw in towards second base. So Cox has a hit. He is 5th of the series. Jerry, game by game, you can see Cox getting more confidence in himself, both in the field and with the bat.
Frank, after 8 years, he was a very tense ball player, and you don't realize how tense until you see him a little bit looser now.
Here's Bill Robinson, takes the curve low, ball 1.
Sometimes waiting that long to get an opportunity to get into the big leagues can tighten you up pretty good, but he's starting to relax, and he's getting better with that bat every day, more confidence.
Check swing and a ball, 2-0. At the end of 2 innings, Chicago leads Minnesota 3-2. And at the end of 6, it's Oakland 4, California 1. At the end of 7, Washington 4, Cleveland 2. Senators trying to get a little revenge for a 10-5 whooping in the first one. Baltimore and Boston. Baltimore won it 4-3, 5-inning game. Second game rained out. Inside pitch to Robinson. Bounced away from Jimmy Price, but he got it just to his left. No chance for Cox to move. 2 balls and 1 strike to Bill Robinson. There's a strike. Now it should be 3-1. The scoreboard had it, and we read it off the scoreboard, but the count is 3-1. 3 balls, 1 strike. Pitch coming. Swung on, fly ball out into right field. Northrup there, and has it. On New York Yankee baseball, let's pause right here for station identification.
This is Bill Edwardson. I'll see you twice a day at 7 and at 1.
Here on WGY 810 on your dial, Schenectady.
Catcher Ellie Rodriguez with 2 outs takes a pitch high, ball 1. Cox at first base. Rodriguez has walked, popped up, and grounded out. Curve misses outside. 2 balls and no strikes. John Hiller peers down, fires a strike with a fastball. 2-1 to Rodriguez. There's a little looping drive out into right field that's going to drop for the hit. Rodriguez stops at first base. Cox races on to third. He hit that one right down off his fists and just looped it down the right field line, and a quick move over there by Northrup held it to a single. So the Yankees trying to break through here in the 9th inning and spoil Hiller's bid for a shutout. Have runners at first and third with 2 outs, and Gene Michael coming up. Michael is 1 for 2. He has a single, fly to right field, and walk. Hiller's pitch, inside, ball 1. One-0 pitch to Gene, sliced foul into the seats on the first base side. One to Gene. Hiller brings it. Michael lines it out in left center field. The Yankees are going to score. Cox races in. Rodriguez on his way to third, and Michael has his second hit of the ball game. It is now 8-1. Charlie Smith will come out to bat now for Fred Talbot. Runners at first and third, 1 run across.
Batting for Talbot.
Oh, the Yankees have had 3 hits here in the 9th inning. Coming into the 9th inning, they had only 3 hits in the game. Charlie Smith, batting .667. Swings in the first pitch, pops it out. Deep shortstop, backing off is Euler. He's got it, and the ball game is over. For the Yankees in the 9th, 1 run on 3 hits. There were no Detroit errors, and 2 men are left on base. And the final score in the second game this afternoon, the Tigers 8 and the Yankees 1.
Hey, baby, got a sunburn? Get Unburn, the new sunburn remedy that relieves pain in seconds.
Sunburn today, unburn tonight. Sunburn today, unburn tonight. Out in the sun too long. Unburn out in the sun. Got that dried out feeling. Out in the sun too long. In Unburn, what do you do when your skin starts peeling?
Get remarkable new Unburn. It cools, comforts, and soothes. Relieves your sunburn pain in seconds and conditions your sun-damaged skin for hours. Don't take a chance on suffering. Be prepared. Get new Unburn today.
Feeling so bad, hurting all over. What do you do tonight? Sunburn today. Tonight you'll feel better with Unburn. Sunburn today, new Unburn tonight.
All right, here are your totals on this ball game. For the Tigers, 8 runs, 8 hits, no errors with 6 men left. The Yankees, 1 run, 6 hits, 2 errors, 8 men left on base. Winning pitcher going all the way, John Hiller, in his first start this year after relieving 8 times for the Tigers. And Hiller's record is 3 wins, 1 loss. The losing pitcher in his first start this year for the Yankees, Steve Barber, his record is 0-1. The Yankees won the first game 4-3 from the Tigers, so they wind up the 4-game series with 1 win and 3 losses, and now move back to Yankee Stadium to open a 4-game set against the Minnesota Twins. The first game tomorrow night. Jim Bouton will pitch for the Yankees, and Jim Cott is the probable pitcher for the Minnesota Twins. Game time tomorrow night is 8 o'clock. It will be on radio. It will not be on television, so we'll look for you at Yankee Stadium. So it's a split today. The Yankees win the first game 4-3, and Detroit comes back to win the second game by a score of 8-1. The winning pitcher for the Yankees, incidentally, in the opener was Joe Vrpanik in relief. His record is 3-2. John Warden in relief of Denny McClain was the loser, and there were home runs for the Yankees by Joe Pepitone and Bobby Cox. Once again, the final score in the nightcap: Detroit 8, New York 1. And now this is Frank Messer speaking for Jerry Coleman and for Phil Rizzuto, saying so long from Tiger Stadium in Detroit.
Here comes the Yankees. Let's get behind and cheer them up. Yankees. They're gonna learn to feel them up. Yankees. Everyone knows they play the way.
This Yankee baseball broadcast is brought to you by Atlantic and your neighborhood Atlantic dealer. Go with Atlantic Imperial gasoline and follow the Imperial Road. The going's great when you drive the Imperial Road because Atlantic Imperial gasoline helps keep your car running the way it was made to run all the way. So come on, get on the Imperial Road with Atlantic Imperial gasoline. And by White Owl Cigar. White Owl, made from patiently aged tobaccos for extra flavor and mildness. Remember, you get a lot more from a White Owl than just smoke.